Welcome, everyone, to another episode of I Can Do This All Day. I'm Dan, the part-time Avenger. That's Mark, the resident Jedi.
Hello there. Today we're going to talk about an invasion, and it's a secret, and I wish I almost didn't know about it. Today we're going to dig in to the Marvel Disney Plus show, Secret Invasion.
It's a secret. Don't talk about the invasion. Yeah, I was kind of excited about this when I first read about it. And then as it came closer and closer and closer, and I found out more and more and more about it, I didn't really find too much excitement in it. So what about you? Were you remotely excited for this?
So, as you know, I've stopped with a lot of trailers and things, and it's usually done me pretty well. I've also stopped watching some of the Marvel TV shows because they're bad, right? Like Ms. Marvel and She-Hulk still have not finished those. Not done. Got to catch up before the Marvels. I know, but it's gonna be hard. But I was stoked that Sam was in this, right? Got a little Samuel L. Jackson. Nothing ever goes wrong with that, right? Right? Oh.
So for the record, I enjoyed Ms. Marvel and She-Hulk. So I think you're missing out in comparison to this. If you did not see those because you thought it was going to be garbage, not to play my hand too early, but I think it's no secret that this wasn't the biggest hit for Marvel. I think it was like the lowest rated series for all the Marvel TV shows. So something's happening.
What was the second lowest rated series?
I don't know. My guess is it was probably like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, honestly.
I liked that one.
So did I. It's just the lowest rated. But I started rewatching some of the other shows recently. Caught a few episodes here of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, WandaVision, and the most recent show that I picked up a few episodes was Hawkeye. And Hawkeye might be the best show out of everything besides WandaVision. I think that was the best show. It was just really fun, really good. And yeah, you felt for the Avenger that no one cared about, Hawkeye. And he was a badass in it, and he had his nice little protege. But we're not here to talk about those Marvel shows. We're here to talk about the Secret Invasion. Predictions going into the show. Did you know much about the Secret Invasion plot line? And did you have anything where, oh, this is going to happen, or we're going to see these characters, anything like that at all?
I knew there was Skrulls. That's about it. I thought that, this would be a great opportunity to bring some S.H.I.E.L.D. folks to the forefront to maybe dig in to some of that dynamic. I thought that somebody was going to go full on Colston in this show, and be a co-lead, but no, that didn't happen. And we'll talk about that. I'm very frustrated with that situation, but moving on. What about you?
I thought that we were going to see some big names, and we were going to find out that they were Skrulls, right? And we found out that there were some people that were Skrulls, but not who you would have guessed.
The lamest Avenger is a Skrull? Is that
oh, no. He's not the lamest Avenger. Rhodey, War Machine, is not the lamest Avenger by any means. Why would you say that he was? Because you don't have a good reason. You don't have a good reason. There's no way.
Who's lamer? Who's the bottom of that pile then? Is it Ant-Man? Because Ant-Man had to save Rhodey when his shit didn't work in Endgame. So I'm like, okay, well, Ant-Man at least saved Rhodey. Rhodey's a liability.
Some people could say Professor Hulk. Some may say Black Widow simply for the fact that she has no superpowers. Hawkeye has been the running joke for years that he's the worst Avenger. But Rhodey, when it came to Rhodey, he has the War Machine armor. He was instrumental in the battle with Ultron. And he had tattoos on his armor of how many Ultron bots that he destroyed. Not to mention, he fried the living hell out of Thanos's minions when they were at the Battle of Wakanda. He kicked some major ass.
No. The War Machine armor kicked some ass. Anybody that they could have droned that shit, bro.
Then your buddy Iron Man is the lamest Avenger of all.
He built it though. Rhodey didn't build it. He just got in it. And technically, if this show is to be believed, Rhodey did shit at the Battle of Wakanda.
Okay, let's just go into Rhodey right now. Let's just go full on into it. So you find out that Rhodey is a Skrull, right? You
First
don't know
you
when.
find out. Hang on. First, you find out Rhodey is some sort of pseudo chief of staff, cabinet, military, controlling everything official. Which
that's kind of what generals.
That's
kind of what generals do in the military.
I'm just saying, like, where in Endgame he was just like, working with Nat. Fury didn't know that it just was weird, man.
I'm perfectly fine skipping all of that mumbo jumbo just because there's if you start going down that rabbit hole, then you start wondering, like, how do the Avengers get paid? Who pays their mortgages? What about their life insurance? Do they have a 401k through Stark Industries? Like, get that stuff out of your head. That's the stuff not even to be concerned about. But that's what
then why did we
man.
talk about it in this show? I don't care. I don't want to see Nick get fired by this jackass. Like, this is all extraneous, useless information.
Okay, fair enough.
This could have been a single episode special.
Let's go back to Rhodey and him being the lamest Avenger. Like,
please do.
There's no way. So, based off of your concept, the armor itself, once again, I'll go back to saying that Tony Stark may have built it, but anyone could have been in it. And as a matter of fact, in some of the missions, or at least parts of the missions, he wasn't in the armor anyways. So if that is your argument, Iron Man could be considered, Tony Stark could be considered the lamest Avenger.
No, Tony Stark made everybody better with technology.
So what? Anyone could have used the technology. Anyone could have gotten into the suit.
But it had to be created. If not for
Tony
Stark.
What happened? Do you know what happened when he created all those things? He fucked up everything, and he's the reason that every villain came after Earth. So, lamest Avenger? I don't know. I think that goes to Iron Man.
It's not my fault they felt threatened.
So whose fault is it that?
Avenger.
So if it's the person that created it that it gets the credit, then Tony Stark should get all of the credit for being the biggest jackass of everyone, because they all, Ultron, his fault, right? Thanos, essentially his fault, because he's the one who, stopped the battle in New York, and he's the one who fucked up the Chitauri army.
Thanos was coming for the stones regardless.
Yeah, he was coming for the stones, but it's like
Tony had zero stones, no stones.
I know he had no stones. That's the point. So he wanted to build a suit of armor around the world, and every time he's like the exact reason why things go to shit. Obadiah Stane, exact reason for him to go to shit, because he was so obsessed with Stark's creation, and Stark could have just, continued on with doing his business, but he created Obadiah Stane. He created
Obadiah Stane was
Ultron.
already there.
But he's the reason that Stane went batshit crazy. He's the reason Ultron was created.
Stane went crazy pre-Iron Man armor.
Who created, and what else did Tony do to make that happen? Sold arms, right? And then he was like,
but Obadiah did as well,
right? Yeah. I'm just saying the lamest Avenger, if you're going by that rationale, is Tony Stark. He was a fucking arms dealer, and then he created a fucking murder bot. I don't know, man.
Hey, I mean, and all that time, What did Rhodey do? He sat there and what? Just because
serving in the military. Are you a non-patriotic bastard that you're gonna just shit on the military right now?
No, because Captain America is the best Avenger.
That's fine.
And the first.
That's fine. But once again, you're deflecting the fact that Tony Stark, by your argument that Rhodey is the lamest Avenger, that all goes back to Tony Stark because he's the one who created the
just
armor
because
anyways.
Tony Stark has an action bias does not make him a negative impacting person. What about Nick Fury? Nick Fury in this movie is the reason that everything's fucked up.
That's my point though. He's not an Avenger. So
he's the fucking leader of the Avengers.
Can you say no? He's not. When has he ever led the Avengers?
The first movie titled The Avengers.
He led them. Tell me, what did he strategically do?
He brought them all together, got them moving, and put them out there.
Who got the
Watch the movie again, buddy?
Who got
the movie again?
It was Coulson, if anything, that got them together then. So
but remember, Nick lied about the Coulson cards. That was all Fury.
But here's the thing. I love how the fact that you throw out this ridiculous statement that Rhodey's the worst Avenger, and then somehow it gets to Nick Fury.
Dogging on other people. You've not given one positive Rhodey impact at all.
He's in the military. He was a general for the fucking United States of America, served multiple missions along with one of the esteemed bodyguards for the president. Not his fault that the armor was taken over by other forces, but instrumental in the Battle of Wakanda. Also,
they lost the Battle of Wakanda. They lost. Instrumental in an L. Instrumental in an L.
Are you kidding me? They would have gotten decimated if it wasn't for Rhodey lighting up that front line once they walked in. It
doesn't matter if you lost big or lost small. An L is an L, baby.
This is going to drive me nuts the entire episode unless you can keep your argument focused on what it is. The point being, War Machine, not the worst Avenger.
But you haven't. You've tried to argue that Tony Stark
is probably the worst Avenger based off of everything I just said. Black Widow, secret spy, double spy, previously a spy for the Russian government, probably one of the worst Avengers and went on multiple kill missions. Hawkeye, another one that went on those said kill missions with Black Widow, another person that could be considered a worse Avenger, and the fact that they don't have superpowers. I mean, there's three right there. So you're saying that I don't have examples of that? Sam Wilson, another person who did not necessarily fight or be willing to fight in the Avengers Age of Ultron, another show of his character, but at the same time, they kind of retcon that.
The military veteran who counsels PTSD veterans and then takes over the moniker Captain America. Yeah, no, he's terrible. You should.
My point being, that's my point, is that he is less than at that time for those things as to why he would be a worse Avenger. Here's the thing. I don't know why I'm even getting so worked up on this, because you have a dog shit argument.
I don't know
because you don't have an argument.
Worked up because Rhodey's a dog shit.
You don't have an argument. What's your argument? Tell me what your argument is.
Least impactful Avenger.
Least impactful Avenger. Battle of Wakanda. Front lines. Aerial combat specialist. No,
everybody was at the Battle of Wakanda.
Yeah, but he was instrumental on the front lines, so that doesn't work. Sorry.
He was
next.
But dude,
next.
The Battle of Wakanda was a loss. Everybody lost. Cap said it. We all lost. Everybody lost. You can't tout
who wasn't
being instrumental
who
in
wasn't
a
there.
loss.
Who wasn't there as the Avengers?
Who was battling Thanos on a
planet? Who was, answer the question, who was not there for the Avengers?
They had separate missions.
No, they didn't. Two of them were definitely sidelined doing whatever the fuck they wanted. Hawkeye on the sidelines at his farm, worst Avenger. Ant-Man under house arrest, worst Avenger. Do you still want to say that Rhodey is the worst Avenger?
Ant-Man was in the quantum realm.
No, he wasn't.
During the Battle of Wakanda?
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, he
after.
was.
That was after. Definitely
No,
after.
it wasn't,
The
because
snap
he
happened.
was stuck
Dude,
in the quantum
Dude.
realm because of the snap.
yeah, during the snap. Yes.
The
So
snap
before
happened
then, he
at
could
the
have
end of the Battle of Wakanda.
at the end of the battle. Right. Exactly. Can you say that again? Can you rewind and say the end of the battle? So what was he doing before?
He was, if you watched the Ant-Man and the Wasp, that movie went
He was
right
there
up
for
until
2 minutes. He was there for 2 minutes. So what was he doing before while the battle was going on?
he was in that Ant-Man and the Wasp.
So
Like,
my
whatever the
point being is that he could have been at the Battle of Wakanda.
No.
Clint
Like
could have been
Clint-
at the Battle of Wakanda.
Like Clint, he was not brought on, buddy.
Exactly. Worst
They
Avenger.
signed those
Who's the
accords.
worst Avenger? It's someone that's there or someone that they're just like, oh, he's with his family.
Oh man.
Yeah.
You know
I
those
guess
you know
he's not
those
part of it.
Wakanda accords that Rhodey pushed on everybody pretty well, along with the other generals? Yeah, that's
Oh.
the reason they
Oh.
weren't there.
You mean the Sokovia Accords? Not the Wakanda Accords, because that doesn't exist, but the Sokovia Accords that Stark pushed?
Rhodey was right there with him.
Oh, but Stark pushed it, right? Just correct me if I'm wrong. Stark pushed it.
So did Black Widow. So did
Exactly.
Stark,
So
did
worse,
Rhodey.
Worse Avengers.
No,
Worse
dude,
Avengers.
Rhodey was
they've
in
got a
that.
track
You
record.
can't argue. Rhodey was in
Dude.
that camp anyway.
You can.
Rhodey was in the same
absolutely.
camp.
Absolutely, you can, because he said towards the end, like, yeah, I'm thinking we picked the wrong side.
All of them thought that.
Oh my God, dude. I can't believe, and yet you still feel the need to say that Rhodey is the worst Avenger, or you still feel the need to say that he's the worst Avenger, even though I gave you multiple people and multiple reasons.
So half of your reasons weren't even Rhodey.
That's the point. The other people, are you not listening to your argument right now?
Half of the things you're talking about for Rhodey, the Battle of Wakanda, if we're to believe this show, wasn't Rhodey.
That it's never been confirmed if it was or wasn't, though.
It was by the writers.
This is that. No, they did not say that was the case. They did not confirm that was the case. You can allude to the fact that it was, but they did not.
Hey, can you do one thing for me though? One thing, just to end this. How many Avengers were captured by Skrulls? How many?
I don't know. We don't know, because
how many?
We don't know.
Okay, so as of right now, as of today, what's the count?
That's the
what's the
cause?
Count? Answer the question. Answer the question. What's the
cause
count
for him being a worse Avenger?
I mean, nobody else got captured by Skrulls.
Get the fuck out of here. This is the worst. This is the worst. You have a horseshit argument. Horseshit argument.
Horseshit argument. Horseshit show. It's the same thing.
It is, seriously though, it's the worst argument ever, because I totally just debunked your argument, or
in your head case. You did.
Oh my God.
In your head you did.
All right, let's just go on, because this is super irritating. Super irritating. You cannot let go of the fact that you are incorrect in this statement.
My statement's opinion. My opinion,
and I just gave you a reason why
be.
your opinion is
and
wrong.
My opinion is that Rhodey's the lamest Avenger.
Oh my God. No, you said he was the worst Avenger overall.
Worst, lamest.
Get
same
out of
thing.
Here. Oh my God.
Same thing.
All right, let's go on. All right, so how much of the story did you know in terms of the secret?
Nada. Did not get to this from a comic perspective. I was heavy into X-Men and Batman and stuff like that, so didn't get into and I don't think this was in my like comic wheelhouse. Infinity Gauntlet was. So I don't know if there's as much deviation from the Infinity Gauntlet series as there was in the Infinity Saga. Leaving out Adam Warlock and such, but it didn't bother me. That was great. This, yeah.
I think it, and I don't know the entire story of everything, but I'm pretty sure that everybody was a Skrull and they all got into like one big battle royale with each other. And
I mean, that seems to be the way it's going.
I didn't think that was going to be the case for the show, though. I thought there would be a little bit more, but
I
one versus one.
I think we both thought there'd be a little bit more of something here.
it was kind of you know how some people were kind of bummed or they were making fun. You saw the memes about Captain America Civil War where they were expecting this huge ass battle, but then from like a like a 15,000 foot view, it's just like six people just kind of playing fisticuffs on a huge airport field. That's
Yeah.
kind of the same thing. What happened in this show is that you didn't really see a whole lot of battling. A few cool gunplay scenes and gunfights, but that very end battle with Gaia and Gravik, who is the in quotes villain, it was super underwhelming. Cool powers that were being displayed, but just kind of like, nah, not
Yeah,
so much. So
it just seemed like, okay, we've created two heavily overpowered characters. How
yeah, yeah.
how possibly can we subdue said overpowered characters?
I read some article saying that now those two are the, or I don't know, did Gravik die? I can't even remember what the fuck happened to Gravik. Did he die?
I don't think he did.
So he's still alive somewhere in like a fucking raft
I
prison.
think so.
Okay. Ridiculous. But now I read somewhere that those two are now considered the most powerful beings in the MCU, which is
I
fucking
mean, you've got
bananas.
like Galactus and stuff like that out there.
Yeah. And then I heard somewhere else that the Galactus is going to be the next villain for the Fantastic Four movie, which I don't know why that would be the case, because you would think that Galactus would be the next big bad, unless they think they're just shooting the moon and everything will be
Well, I don't
done
know
and
why you
reboot
wouldn't just bring
everything.
Doctor Doom into the, just like every other Fantastic Four movie, you got to have Doctor Doom.
Yeah, yeah. But I don't see. I'm not a big Doctor Doom fan. I know a lot of people are like really hell bent on him being like the best villain and everything. But I guess I just don't know enough about him, other than the Marvel Ultimate Alliance video game that I played. That was pretty sweet. That he was one of the villains.
Yeah.
But I don't know with this show. So this show, and I emphasize the word show. Were you surprised that it wasn't a film?
I was surprised they give this level of star power to a show, right? With Sam Jackson. But when you look at the material they decided to cover, it would have been a terrible movie.
I think if it wasn't within the MCU realm, it could be somewhat passable. Like it's. I mean, look at Samaritan. I don't
That
know
wasn't
shit about.
passable.
No, no, no. I know. I'm saying that though. You think about Samaritan, where it's like we don't know shit about this character. I don't even know if it was based off a comic or whatever, but if it was, we didn't need to know it. So we were just fine jumping right in with him and his twin brother battling with that stupid monologue at the beginning. But I think this had enough espionage and intrigue and kind of suspense to it to where it probably could have passed as a movie. Maybe not necessarily the third act CGI battle, but I don't know. I think it's take out the Skrulls and their superpowers. It could have been passable as a movie. It could have maybe not rivaled Winter Soldier, but at the same time been at least been on the same wavelength, which I did catch a few of those good vibes from. Like I wasn't completely hating on this show. There's a few good things where it's like, oh, sweet, like who's a Skrull? Like, oh, I think that person's a Skrull, and I think they're gonna kill that person. So there's a little bit of intrigue and some suspense there. Did you feel the same way for any of the parts in the show?
I think if you'd have made it a movie, it could have been snappier. And you could have, I felt a lot of the show was exposition that was useless and like just why are we pulling the taffy so much? Why? Why are we pulling the taffy?
Because it tastes so good.
Yeah, but when you give it that much length and you don't include any Avengers and like they wouldn't know about it. Like they're morons not plugged in,
It
right?
was
Like
like the dumbest excuse, right? Like, no,
yeah,
this is my fight. Like,
yeah,
really?
that's not
70-year
gonna
old Nick
happen.
Fury?
That's not gonna happen. Um all there's so many things that made no sense, right? It just you had to suspend disbelief a lot in this, a lot. And it just, I don't know.
I was bummed about Everett Ross and him being a Skrull. Like I knew he was a Skrull like right off the bat, but at the same time, like when does that happen? So did you at any point were you thinking like, oh, he's obviously a Skrull and now he's dead? Were you thinking at all like, well, wait, so who did Shuri take back and rescue in Wakanda Forever? Like, was that bothering you at all?
It's I think the whole idea of the Skrulls being so good at impersonating people, it doesn't make sense that they would have taken people over for that long, right? Like the Rhodey thing made no sense. None. If we're to believe
Which
that ever since Civil War, Rhodey's been a Skrull.
right. That's not confirmed, though. That is not confirmed that that's the case. Everyone is thinking that because he's wearing the same little hospital gown, because everyone saw the little 3-second clip of him going into the CAT scan or whatever. So I'm not 100% bought that that is the truth.
I mean, we'll see. But again, I think that it makes no sense that Avengers wouldn't be involved. Like the other shows, like Hawkeye, it makes sense that just Hawkeye's doing it. Winter Soldier, Captain America, the Winter Soldier. It makes sense. There's 2 Avengers handling this. We're good.
Which the Avengers weren't even. It wasn't even sure that they were a thing anymore.
Right.
They just kind of
right. But I mean, like, who would show up to help in this the Secret Invasion situation? Maybe Sam Wilson would show up. Maybe all of the Shield based people, right, would show up.
And none of his, is it Saber that was his space battalion that he was up at? Like none of them showed up for anything. It was just kind of really strange. So like, yeah, there's some like, I'm Nick Fury, I can handle it myself. Yeah, like I don't get that. And yeah, you're pushing 70. I don't buy your whole spy stuff. I thought they were going to start getting into the life model decoys. Are you familiar with that with Nick Fury?
No.
So Nick Fury, because he's old as shit and he's really smart, and of course he's human with no superpowers, he basically has these LMDs, these life model decoys that look like him, sound like him, act like him, and basically they just are the robots or androids or whatever they are. They act in his place and he's always off somewhere being safe. So like if he were to get shot, it's not really him being shot, it's the life model decoy. So I thought that was going to be some type of thing for this show, because I was like, how are you going to have old as fuck Nick Fury battle these Skrulls much stronger, faster than him, unless you have a little bit of help, right? So I thought that was what was going to happen, but not even that. He's Nick Fury, human, and yeah. So the comic book lover in me was kind of bummed that I didn't see that. But on a non-serious note, how do you feel about Nick Fury really liking intergalactic interspecies erotica?
I don't mind it. It seems like he would be kind of a weird dude. And that, well, it makes sense. And it's an opportunity for the Skrulls to study humans. It it is what it is. That was one of the only cool parts of this. You skipped some of the things that pissed me right off.
Which is?
First, this was supposed to be like the Maria Hill show, right? And then nope, killing her right away.
Yeah. That was
right away.
So dumb.
I didn't understand killing Coulson in Avengers. And then they somehow secretly brought him back for a show that didn't cross over, but supposedly did cross over. Is so like, what are they gonna do that shit again? Like, come on.
I thought that, and she was really good in the show. That's the thing that pissed me off. Is
she's really good in everything.
The first Avengers, not so much. Ultron for sure. She was definitely cool in that. Winter Soldier, great. But not so much in the very first Avengers. She's actually kind of like probably more comic accurate. She's more of a cold hearted bitch, if you will, in the deleted scenes, she actually tries to turn on Nick Fury. But I thought that we were going to get like a badass Maria Hill in this show, and we get it for like a split second, and then she's dead. So yeah, I was bummed about that. I thought it was going to turn out to be like either life model decoy for her or Skrull for her, and no, just flat out Maria Hill dead. Another character gone, wasted. Which I wonder if Marvel like has any type of pressure on them to where it's like, oh yeah, you never kill your main characters, and then there's like, oh, we need to kill a main character.
So I feel like Disney is just in this place where they don't give a shit, right? Where they're getting rid of people who've been in multiple shows because the contracts probably always got to get bigger every time. And these big stars that get paid at whatever rate that's negotiated, they need to save a little money. And they know nobody's canceling Disney Plus, especially people with kids, because their damn kids just want to watch Mickey Mouse Clubhouse all the time. It's just going to be, I'm not getting rid of my Disney Plus subscription. I don't think you are either.
Yeah, Toy Story's on constant repeat in my household, as much as I wish it wasn't. But yeah, you're right. I think you're absolutely right on that. And I don't know where you really go from here. Do you just do movies now and not do shows on Disney Plus?
I feel like the world is trying to somehow claw their way back to 2019, and I don't know how I don't know that the public wants that. I think that corporations want that. And
Sure.
that's kind of where I feel like Disney's starting to go. They're pushing things back. There's no show, like all the Star Wars stuff has been pushed considerably. Like Marvel's been a consistent moneymaker for them. I get that, but that's because Marvel's been in great hands. They fucked up the people they put in charge of those Star Wars movies. Like I love me some J.J. Abrams. He should not have come back for the third one, or he should have owned all three. But the people that they put in charge of all those other stuff, including Solo, which I like, but it's not good, right? Because they messed with it in the middle of it. They didn't just let Lord and Miller take the whole thing. They're like, oh, we'll just bring in Ron Howard. He can fix it. No, he can't. He can make it a Ron Howard movie, but whatever. It's frustrating, the decisions that Disney's made with properties that we've come to really enjoy. There's a level of burnout. Don't get me wrong. I can't just, I love watching Marvel. I'll watch it every single time, but it still has to be compelling, right? I'm not here to watch season 20 of The Simpsons, right? I'm a solid season 1 through 12 kind of guy. I want the good shit.
So speaking of the good shit, we already talked about one of the main characters dying. Talos was another one of my favorites from Captain Marvel, and also in the end credits of Spider-Man Far From Home. Were you partial to him as a character, and what did you think of it when they offed him in the series?
I don't know if I was partial, but I saw no reason. Like, why are you taking out the biggest antagonist or protagonist that's a Skrull? Why? There's no, like, unless you're planning to have Carol Danvers come in and be really mad about it, but you're not. So I don't know.
You have a bigger name with Emilia Clarke, or at least a bigger name to the younger audience with Emilia Clarke, which would be the demographic that Marvel is trying to go for. So Emilia Clarke as the daughter is Gaia. I'm kind of not over her, but I'm not. The years of Khaleesi are long gone, in my opinion. I thought she was great as Sarah Connor in the Terminator movie, but yeah, I don't know if I will be more intrigued to see her in more Marvel stuff. And now that she's a super Skrull, it's like, I guess you kind of have to bring her back, because how do you just write off the most powerful being in the MCU? It's crazy.
Emilia Clarke wasn't great as Khaleesi because of her action scenes. She was great because of the dramatic acting that she possessed. And when they tried to put her in more action scenes, you got the last season, right? It's she delivers emotion. there was no emotion in this. Like she wasn't even mad at it. I just want to burn him. I want to do the burial the right way. Like, but there wasn't that level of emotion there, which you'd think in a strange child trying to, you'd think there'd be something. I got nothing from it. It was so flat. It was like soda that you got from the theater and brought home for the next morning. It's just flat, baby.
I don't think she's that great of an actor.
I think she'd be great in a dramatic role. I don't think this is a dramatic role. I think it's poorly written. I think the whole show is poorly written because they're trying to pull the taffy to score a show. And, you know, yeah, we'll use a show to kick this off. No, make a fucking movie. Release the movie on Disney Plus. That'd be awesome. But they want you coming back every week because for some reason, Secret Invasion is going to keep you subscribed to Disney Plus. Like,
Nuts.
I understand that had to work for HBO, but HBO, even though they bought Sesame Street, was not a full family like lock-in. Disney Plus is locked in. Like, I cancel Netflix, I cancel Hulu, I cancel Peacock, can't cancel Disney Plus. I just can't, bro. I need to come up with that Disney Plus money.
That is one service that has always remained on my TV all throughout COVID. Like I stopped a few months for Netflix and Max and vice versa on stuff. But yeah, Disney Plus has remained a staple through everything. And I like the fact that I can flip on Ant-Man and the Wasp. You know, like it's those things that I like being able to see. And I said earlier that my son still plays Toy Story on the regular every day. So there, whether it's 1, 2, 3, or 4, or even like the shorts, it's still there. So Disney Plus is going to stick around. But here's the thing about this particular show is you have a race of people of aliens, and they don't have a home. What do you think about the Skrulls? And is there anything that you feel that is either like really good about them being in positions of power? Do you agree with them, empathize with them, or what do you think about that whole concept?
I think it's a superior race trying to take advantage of a shitty race, right? Like humanity is not powerful enough to deflect these attacks coming at them. And while, you know, Fury and we would assume the Avengers are going to do what they can to protect humanity, in general, it's a race preying on another race, which is what ended up making the Skrulls homeless as it is, right? They don't understand that they're becoming the aggressor that they hoped to escape.
Do you think that we will see more of them in the future? And do you think that that's the right way to go, or based off of this show, are you like, we might need to divert?
I got a feeling there's going to be more because there's a movie called Secret War in the hopper. So I'm guessing there'll be more Skrull material.
It was named Secret War. Supposedly that title is changing along with Kang Dynasty. So I don't know. It's not confirmed that is going to be the case, because it was like confirmed at the Disney conventions, and then just recently they were saying that, oh, those names will probably change for those 2 Avengers movies. But who knows? I think there's so many
Marvel
things
put out a really good movie in an Avengers-y timeline that's been solid. Like for reason of story, have you really loved anything that came after Endgame? I mean, Spider-Man, without the 3 Spider-Men and without the crossover piece, and it's almost individuality in the Sony Spider-Verse, like, has anything really blown your skirt up and been like, oh, I can't wait to see what happens next?
Shang-Chi was great. That movie was fucking awesome.
But
yeah, I mean, everything else
used him nowhere. He was more impactful than fucking Barbie.
But I mean, it's still a good movie. So.
I agree. So as a standalone movie, it's good. It is good. It is, you know, on the level with some of the original movies. But in general of moving the ominous plot forward, we got nothing here, buddy. Like,
moving the plot forward. I think they have
else.
to be they have to be careful because everything that they're doing now, you have people that are either aging out of their roles or just kind of getting tired of the roles. Like even Hemsworth, who originally said he'll play Thor until they stop asking him to do so. On this last one, it's like, yeah, for me to come back, it'll have to be something really good for the character, and
That's
I don't want
because
it just to
Love and
cash grab.
Thunder was love and tanking. Like
I
it was,
like that
I
movie.
liked it as
I
a
liked it.
movie. It did
Gar-
shit for again, they're making good standalone stories, but the integration that they had in those first movies, I don't think they're going to be able to duplicate.
I mean, I don't disagree. I don't know where they're going with anything. I mean, they were trying to, paint the pictures to like this is what you deal with after the blip. Guardians 3, you can't forget about Guardians 3. That was fucking amazing. That still might be like I want to say top 5, but it might be top 3 for all my Marvel movies. And that closes a loop, but also keeps it open, even though I know they're probably not going to do anything with it. So the whole legendary Star-Lord will return. Maybe he will, or she will. Maybe it'll be a variant. I don't think we'll see another Guardians cast, but yeah, I don't know, man. It's there's a lot of different things that I'm not 100% sure of about this, but in terms of driving the plot home, I don't know if they can do that anymore. And I don't know if they should, because they got really, really lucky with the Infinity Saga. I don't know if you can replicate that. I just don't know.
Well, they picked the best story. Like it standalone, the best Marvel plot line.
I think the best Marvel plot line would be, if done correctly and built correctly, would be the Dark Phoenix. And they fucked that up twice. So that would be the only thing, is like maybe they just put a scrap into the MCU of like the Avengers aspect and then just go fucking full on hard for X-Men. Like that is the next phase, like, and maybe I'm using the wrong terminology here, but let's say they end Avengers, Secret Wars, and then they start building all of the X-Men movies. And instead of, the X-Men, or I'm sorry, the Avengers being the staples, it just revolves around the X-Men. Maybe see a few Avengers pop in here and there, but it really just revolves around the mutants and that particular team. That is how I think they could continue on building up an entire universe and having the same or at least similar type of success as the Infinity Saga had.
I think they're gonna have to just start going standalones. Like I don't know that they can continue this large scale story. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope like the Marvels pushes it forward. I hope that we get some good stuff here to really fill it in, but I don't see anything coming down the pipe that's like, woo.
Right. I mean, I hope that's the case. I mean, Deadpool 3 might be the only one that is like, oh, that looks awesome. And we haven't really seen anything of it besides like the costume stuff.
But the only reason we think it's awesome is because Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman are in it.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, is there any other reason that we need?
We have a level of trust for that group that hasn't been tested. We had a level of trust for fucking Samuel Jackson in these movies. Tested, failed.
To talk about some of the other things about the movie, like so Gravik, who is also I can't remember his name, but he was in Barbie. So I thought that was kind of cool to see him, and I thought he did a good job acting wise. I bought him as the villain, and he just has that look, a menacing look for this show. But once again, that's all that we can talk about with that. I don't know where else we can elaborate on his character.
You're referring to Kingsley Ben-Adir, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I didn't know why. First of all, this Rebel Skrull wouldn't just be a Skrull. Like, you want to cause chaos? Let fucking people know that there's green people here. That'll fuck with everybody. But I like when he came out and just this is why I'm this person. And there was like a reason behind it. Though I was annoyed that somehow they let this random person come in and make themselves the most powerful person in the MCU from a strength and powers perspective. I thought as an actor, he did a great job. What else do you want? He could have held his own in a movie. I thought, as a villain, I thought he was as good as, anything that we've seen recently in any of the series, like Mission Impossible or whatever.
Do you think that with his storyline as being a Super Skrull and Gaia's storyline as being a Super Skrull, when do you think they'll pop back up? Do you think it's just going to be in Secret Wars?
I don't know how they can't pop back up, or I don't know how, like, they need to keep it quiet for a minute. But I still am like, I don't know how you create that and don't make it the immediate threat for everyone. Right?
Then the Eternals could just come in and whoop the shit out of them. I don't know. I
I'm
feel
sorry,
like
I fell asleep. You said Eternals, and I just went.
That's the other thing too, is like the Eternals is just there. We don't know what the hell's going to happen with that.
If any Eternals join the Avenger, immediately worst Avenger. Immediately. Rhodey gets promoted.
So I just want to give a few shout outs to the other parts of the cast in this. Killian Scott, I don't know if you know him as an actor at all, but I was introduced to him in an Irish TV show that my wife kind of got me hooked into called Love Hate. And he played a character on there that was like, he suffered a tragic fate, but really awesome to see him. He was the same, or that was the same show that also Ebony Maw was from. And that was really cool to kind of see like some of these people being brought back into the fold, or at least in the American type of Hollywood scene. Dermot Mulroney and Shooter McGavin, the other two that were just like, holy shit, where the hell these guys come from?
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm like, how is this fucker the president? And then I'm like, Shooter? I mean, Shooter fit in as basically a Fox News host, like totally fit in. I was just like, yep, that'll be a Shooter job. But I love to see him in whatever. Like, let's go.
So Olivia Colman was another actor that was in this that I'm not super familiar with. Can you tell me a little bit about her?
Yeah, no, Oscar winner, Olivia Colman. Won an Oscar in 2018 for the Favorite. She played the Queen Anne or something like that. I remember her from Hot Fuzz, where she was a cop in Hot Fuzz. Loved her in that, and she's been in a few different things. She was in the Iron Lady. She plays a lot of British, because she's British. She plays a lot of British like monarchs and stuff like that. But she was also in Cuban Fury, if you remember that. Nick Frost vehicle from 2014. Lots of love there. But she's both hilarious and an amazing serious actress or actor as well. And she's gotten a lot more work lately. But her early stuff was great. She did a lot of television. She was the queen in The Crown for a while. She did Doctor Who. She did an episode of that. She's done a lot. She was in Murder on the Orient Express as well, the remake in 2017. But I think she's hilarious in this movie. And I was happy to see her like not give up. Like, she can do dramatic roles all day, but I loved that her character was this playful, like Bond-esque kind of thing, right? Where they play a little bit of satire, very Roger Moore in her. Oh, okay, now you're dead. I loved her character in this. The bright spot for me in the entire series.
I was going to say, like you mentioned James Bond, I would be perfectly fine seeing her in some type of agent role, or like the M role or something like that. I think that would be kind of cool. But yeah, I would agree with her.
As Q, that would be awesome. She just is wacky with inventions.
Yeah, I think that could work. And You know what? Just let's start campaigning for her right now. Olivia Colman in the next James Bond movie. Just do it.
Just do it.
Hollywood. God damn it.
Just make the decision. It's okay.
So I mean, we talked about the show. I don't think we really need to go more into detail of it. I think there's just a question that I need to ask you, kind of based off of everything that we just said. Mark, can you do Secret Invasion all day?
I hope to never do Secret Invasion again. It's just like, I get it, and there were bright spots, but I don't. Only 6 episodes didn't give you much to pull the taffy with, especially when each one was less than an hour, and you just like, oh, we killed somebody. Oh, we killed somebody else you liked. And look, we made these people super powerful, and you think you killed that one. Nope, we didn't. And look, they had a battle. And she posed as Nick Fury. Oh my God. Like, nobody knew that wasn't Nick Fury immediately. So, yeah, it was predictable. It was formulaic, and I was expecting better. Will I watch the next Marvel show if Samuel L. Jackson is in it? Yeah, because I'm a sucker. But in general, I don't know. But my opinion, not the most important one here. Dan, fan of Rhodey, champion of the War Machine, with all of the Rhodey in this show, can you do the show all day?
No, and it's a resounding no. This is the first Marvel show that I have not wanted to just play right at 3 a.m. to be able to talk about it the next day. I was perfectly fine. I was on a business trip for like 2 weeks straight, and I was like, oh, okay, there's an episode of Secret Invasion out. I'll just wait until I get back. Like, there was no inkling in my fibers and of being that were just like, oh, we need to see more of this. I need more Nick Fury. Like, Nick Fury is awesome. Samuel L. Jackson is awesome. But it just didn't hit me on this one. It did not hit me on this one. And you know who did and then got killed was Maria Hill and Ben Mendelsohn as Talos. So Kobe Smulders, Kobe, whatever her name is.
I call her Robin.
Yeah. And then Ben Mendelsohn. The only bright side to this show that I think of is the Amelia Clark meme where she's doing an impression of Ben Mendelsohn, where she's like, come on, daddy. When are we filming, daddy? That's the best thing that came from the show, is during the press interviews and all that, when she did that little impression of Ben Mendelsohn. That's the only thing that I thought was like super awesome about the show. Everything else was like, oh, that's cool. This is good.
Yeah.
That's dog shit. Yeah, this is a resound, and this is the first Marvel show that I've been like, sorry, but for that reason I'm out.
Yeah. I mean, maybe they'll do an Olivia Colman show and we can watch that and enjoy it.
Yeah, it probably would be better, even if it wasn't an MCU show, it'd probably be better than this. I just thought that there was way too many gaps in the story and too many things that made me question and cheapen some previous things in the MCU. So yeah, more questions than answers. That's not what I wanted in this show. And you got a cool CGI fight at the end with some cool powers, but that's about it.
They spent the budget on that, man. Like,
they certainly did, and they made it obvious as to what powers were being displayed. Like Drax and his flexing arm was like absolutely necessary. Like, yeah, did you really need to flex the arm? Couldn't you just
other question,
just do it?
Is Drax really? You got all of them. You have everybody's powers. You're picking Drax over Thor or Hulk, or again,
didn't make sense. Like just be Hulk the entire time. That's fine. Or Captain Marvel the entire time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You're okay.
Yeah.
Oh man. So unfortunately, this is like I said, the first Marvel show that I think we're both like, bleh,
yeah,
resounding thumbs down. I wish I had
one more
thumbs.
thing. One more thing. If they collected all of the Avengers DNA, you'd think they would have collected some Thanos DNA, and they could have just been Thanos the whole time.
No, not necessarily. Thanos got dusted, so they couldn't capture his. Which you bring up a good point. Ebony Maw and Cull Obsidian, they
Remember
totally
all that for a
disappeared.
drop of blood. There was some blood from Thanos somewhere, buddy.
8 years ago. There's no way they could have gotten that. Everyone else got dusted. So no, that's not even an option because they were on a completely different planet. But you bring up a good point. They all got dusted. So how is it that you got the DNA?
They swept up that the dustbuster that shit.
That's fucked up. You bring up a
Hmm.
really good point. That just like, that's a. If I was teetering on the fence on that show, that would be the reason why it would get like just a complete resounding. No, I can't do this all day. I can't do it any day. I don't think I'm ever going to revisit this.
I'm glad I could help. Hopefully next time I can do the same thing on the Rhodey argument.
Yeah, not going to happen because you just have awful arguments.
Hmm.
But on that note, until next time, I'm Dan, the part-time Avenger. That's Mark, the resident Jedi.
Help us settle this argument in the comments. Give us hashtag Team Rhodey, hashtag Mark's always right. Go ahead, throw it out there. Like, follow, subscribe, rate it. You know you love it.
This is one that I'm absolutely on board with because I know Mark has a track record of absolutely zero and however many bets and arguments we've had. So until then, we will see you all next time.
Somebody wins eventually.